Okay, so first we're starting off with Bessie and like Chessie and Tessie. Yeah, it's all copying Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. And basically this thing was sighted very long ago, and I'm not sure if there's still sightings, but I believe that this was the first sighting. It was from 1793, and it says a couple of people were like going duck hunting, and they saw this giant serpentine creature like inside of the lake, and basically there were continuous sightings all the way through the 1800s. There was one until 1860. So yeah, so a bunch of sightings back then. And yeah, I couldn't find much about it. So yeah, that's basically it. So moving on to number 2. Okay, so next we have the Flathead Lake Monster. So now then this one is actually there's a backstory behind it which I love. And basically it says that there was a tribe crossing the frozen lake. Yes, the lake was frozen. And basically two girls saw a pair of antlers inside of the water. So then they thought on the ice, So they thought that they would take the antlers. So they used very sharp rocks to try to cut the antlers off and until the ice around them split. And turns out that they saw the monster. And then the monster broke the ice. And it says most of the tribe had drowned inside of the water. And that's why some people say that there's not a lot of people there. And also and there's another steamboat engine that happened. So there's a steamboat, and basically almost 100 passengers saw about some sort of strange whale object inside of the water. So yeah, so definitely there's a lot of background on this monster. Okay, so next we have Smetty, and basically it lives inside of Lake de Smet inside of Wyoming, and basically it said that the lake was named after I forgot the person's name, but it was named after a person of converting Native Americans to Christianity. And yeah, so basically, and it says that there is a lake monster living inside of there, and it says that it's an alligator Loch Ness type thing. So yeah. And it also says it used to snatch papoons. I don't know what that is, from Native Americans or something. And yeah. And yeah, so that's basically it. I couldn't find much about it, but yeah. Okay. So the next one we have is Norman, the lake monster. And I actually found this one really interesting because they had a whole .com for it. So yeah. And also there was sightings of it, and in fact there was actually one that was pretty recent. It was inside of 2024, and I honestly found that very, very shocking, because if you go to other monsters, let's say, well, I'm sure that there's still sightings going on, or there will be, but let's go say we're looking for Chessie sightings. I did talk about Chessie inside of my last documentary, but last one was inside of 2015. So that was quite a while ago. But this one was spotted on January the 10th, 2024, which is very recent. So I find that very intriguing. And it says that it was about 15 foot long. And yeah, so I found that super interesting how they sighted it so recently. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure that there was another sighting talking about how someone went bass hunting, and they also found it. They said that the head popped out of the water. So yeah. Okay, so next we have Helmet, and basically Helmet is inside of Lake Eleanor, and it is described as a giant sea serpent. So yeah, it's actually very gigantic, and when I looked at some of the images, it just looked like a dinosaur. I don't know why they did that, but yeah. And yeah, I couldn't find much of it because I don't know why. But it's described as another Nessie, so yeah. So that's basically it. This is probably gonna be the shortest one. Okay, so next we have the Gassia Death and Die, or something. I don't know how to pronounce these names. Who named this thing? But basically, yeah. So this one, I don't think it's an actual monster thing. It's more of mythology, Charybdis or Skyla or the Sirens. So I don't really think that this falls in line with like the rest, kind of like the Dovar Chew inside of the last documentary I made. So yeah, and it's supposed to be like this giant serpentine creature as always, and basically yeah, and it says that it can fly and it also has like fire. It can also breathe fire. So it's more like a dragon than a serpentine to me. So yeah, and this also reminds me of the Chinese dragon, how like its home is inside of the ocean, but it can also fly and breathe fire. So yeah, so this is definitely more on the mythology side and isn't actually like real. And it says it lives inside of the waters inside Canada, specifically more as Lake Ontario. And also, it has been referred to as the European dragon, and I think that people did this because, well, Canada, like the government is like a part of the constitutional monarchy. So yeah. Okay, so next we have Mussie. Now this is just like Tessie, and Nessie, and Charlie, and like all the others. So it's supposed to be like, like the Loch Ness Monster. But for some reason, like when I Googled it up, it said that the description has 3 eyes. Yes, 3 eyes. So I found that pretty interesting. And now that the photo doesn't look like a monster, it just looks sort of like a shark almost, mixed up with a manta ray. So yeah, so that's basically it for the description. I couldn't find much of it, so this one's gonna be another short one. So yeah! Okay, so next we have Tarpey. So now this one was said to be like some sort of reptilian animal, almost sort of like a dinosaur, so yeah. And also it says that it was seen outside of the water and like inside of the water as well. So I find that super interesting because normally when you have like lake monsters, it's only inside of water that you see it. But no, this time it's out of water, so that's really interesting. So yeah. Yeah. That's it. This one's probably the shortest one I've talked about. Okay, so next we have the Oklahoma octopus. So now then this one was said to be very vicious and killing. It says that it would drag people off and eat them. Now then I found that like how there's no actual evidence of it, but I'm pretty sure that people did this just because a lot of people were dying inside of the lake, a lot of people were going missing. So yeah. So that's basically why people think that it's a giant eating octopus. That's like, yeah. But also, I found it pretty interesting how, like, normally, like, a lake monster, they say, oh, yes, it's like Loch Ness Monster or, like, Plesiosaurus or something. But no, this time they decided it would be a great idea to make it an octopus. So I found that pretty interesting. So, yeah. Okay, so next we have Kispy. Now then, this one is from Hudson River. And it got added to the list of Nessies inside of America because, well, yeah. And I couldn't find much of it, but I don't know why, but, like, a bunch of these, like, lake monsters I'm talking about inside of the part 2, I couldn't find much about them. So, yeah. But the other ones I had so much about, but I guess that they're just not famous or, like, big enough, so, yeah. Okay, so next we have the Gargouille. So now then this one is from France, and basically, it was said that, like, it would spew out water, and it would love to cause harm, and yeah, and it lives inside the Seine River. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably I'm pronouncing it wrong, so yeah. But yeah, so it would spew water everywhere, and it says that someone had to go and kill it because literally everyone hated it and they were really angry about it. So yeah, and I feel like this is definitely more on the mythical side than the real side. So yeah. So basically, okay, so this is the Nahuelito. It's like Loch Ness Monster, and it's from Lake Nahuelito or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. And yeah, it's a giant sea serpent. It looks like a plesiosaurus, and it has a serpentine body. And yeah, that's it. Definitely this video is a lot shorter because I'm sorry, but like these sea serpents, I don't think that they're very well known, or at least I couldn't find much on them. or I was just too scared to do some digging because I do have thalassophobia. But yeah, so this one's definitely a little bit short, but that's it. Okay, so next we have the Obojoki. So now this one, its head is supposed to be like a deer's or something. And some people say it's like a sea serpent. Some other people say it's like a seal or something. So yeah, and this is from the United States. Yeah, and it's like classified as like one of the Nessie type creatures. So yeah, and in fact, this one was actually spotted on satellite, and there was one inside of 1903. So yeah, so the Obojoki sightings are kind of all together, they're scattered. So yeah, so that's all I have for the Obojoki. Couldn't find much about it, but yeah. So next we have the skinfin. So now then this one is classified as like another Nessie creature, and it's inside of Arizona, and basically, it's actually quite vicious. It has an attitude towards people, and basically, in fact, they had a most famous encounter where Eric and his dad went fishing, and then Eric was attacked by the monster, but thankfully, he got pulled out because they were going water skiing, and yeah. And also, it's said to have a shark-like fin and like manta and like a manatee sort of, so it's kind of like a fusion like that. So yeah. Okay, so the next one is I forgot its name. The Poco Lake Monster. So now than this one, they had a whole entire article about it, and I was too lazy to read it, and I also got kind of bored. So yeah, but it's okay because like if you want to like actually do some digging, you can go look there. But I don't have that type of time right now. So yeah. But like also, it's said like it's like Nessie, and people estimated it to be like 40 feet because they said that they never actually pulled the lake monster out of the water and measured it. But like, yeah. So next we have the muck monster. So now then this one is another Nessie-like creature, and basically, yeah. I don't know, but I started getting lazy, so that's it. Okay, so the next is the Morg. Now this one, it was like forgotten, I think, and basically, it's very old. It was first sighted in like 1876, I think, and people think that it's like the sea serpent, and yeah, it looks like a plesiosaurus. And basically, the last sighting was inside of 1999, I think. So yeah, so it's been quite a while since it's been sighted. And people say that it died because there were a bunch of sightings throughout like the 19th century. Like through like the 1900s to like the 1990s. There were a lot of sightings there. And all of a sudden when we entered the 2000s, it just kind of disappeared. So yeah.